Cool, I'll jump right in. All right, so as I was preparing for this talk, I came across an interesting article that got me thinking about Darwin and the Galapagos. And so I thought I'd take a moment, distract you all with that because, well, somebody made the mistake of giving me the mic for the next 20 minutes, so you're just gonna have to pay attention. All right, so for those that don't know, a little bit of background. When Darwin visited the Galapagos, he encountered entirely new species of finch. What was even more interesting than the fact that there were entirely new species on this island was that each species seemed extremely well adapted to the environment they found themselves in. Now, I don't know a whole lot about birds or finch. This is sort of what I assume a finch looks like. Pretty accurate, right? All right, so some finch, like this guy here, had thin, long beaks, were great for digging for worms. Others, like this guy here, had short, stout beaks, great for cracking open nuts. And this led Darwin to the realization that all of these species had once belonged to the same species, but had evolved over time to niches in their environment. Okay, I promise I'll get back to that article I talked about a little earlier, but it's probably about time I start talking about partnerships here. So let's jump right in. In the partnerships world, there are essentially two distinct groups that I want to talk about. The first are those that focus on mobile app partnerships. These folks are usually focused on app acquisition, have core KPIs of installs, they deal with linking and tracking, and have their own complex ecosystem of mobile measurement partners, mobile ad networks, mobile app optimization, mobile ad units, right? On the other side are the web-based folks. They're laser focused on driving revenue into their website, and they've had to deal with things like how do I diversify my partner mix, how do I deal with privacy updates in browsers like ITP and some of the Safari updates that have been coming out, along with Firefox and Chrome, more coming probably, and have had to deal with their own complex ecosystem of networks, advertisers, partners, agencies, and platforms, right? As you look at them, you can see, well, both sides have sort of specialized over time in their own respective niches and build up skill sets and tools particular to their area. And obviously, they evolved from an earlier version of partnerships that was in the pre-mobile era, right? 2008, 2007, and before? Huh. Well, that kind of sounds familiar, right? Oh, yeah, right. OK, so I know what you're thinking. Get to your point. What are you trying to tell me? Who cares? Well, why we should care about mobile and web being separate, right? They specialized. This matters because, well, the customer experience is suffering. The problem is that the specializations that web and mobile have taken on have led to a broken customer experience. And let me prove this to you. So I know denim's kind of coming back in style, right? Maybe, sort of? Yes? All right. So obviously, I need to stay fashionable, so I'm going to get a denim jacket. So let me try it out at Macy's. So here I am on Google. I'm going to type in Macy's denim jacket. Let's see what I find. That looks like a pretty good one. We go with that. I'll click through. OK, I'm in the Macy's app. I'm more of a panther color guy myself. That looks good. Pick my size, add it to cart. It's a little pricier than I wanted to pay for, so let me see if I can get some cash back on it. So I'll switch over to Ebates. I find Macy's 10% off. That's pretty good. Click through, open up my shopping cart. Where'd it go? Didn't I just add a jacket? Oh, no, you're going to make me search for it. All right, let's open up. Let's see what categories we have. We'll look through. Oh, screw this. I'm going to Amazon. Right, so what just happened here? Well, when I clicked through on Google, that took me to the Macy's app. When I clicked through on Ebates, it took me to the Macy's website. A broken experience. This is hardly surprising. Those are two separate teams working on two completely different domains, and it's pretty hard to link to the app when you're doing partner tracking. So the question is, who loses? Well, obviously, Macy's lost my business. Maybe I went to Amazon afterwards. Ebates lost a potential payout because, hey, there was no conversion at the end of the day. But most of all, I lost, right? Because I had a terrible customer experience, and I'm missing my awesome Panther denim jacket, right? This is sort of how I picture myself in my denim jacket. Pretty awesome. All right, in short, everyone loses. And in case you think this is like a particular example, cherry pick, let's look at some industry metrics to back this up. So when asked, 88% of users said they're going to leave if they have a bad customer experience. So somewhere within that funnel, you saw where I fell off, they're going to leave after having that bad customer experience. 52% of them are likely not to return again and finish that purchase at any time. And when surveyed, 87% of users said that they wish brands would spend more time working on their mobile experience. When you pair this with the fact that your mobile app experience is just going to be better than your mobile web experience, it makes sense why conversion rates triple in app over web, why order sizes increase significantly in app over web, and why users just purchase more frequently in your app versus on your website. Okay, that's a lot of stats I'm throwing at you, so forget all those stats for a second. I just want you to think 32%. 32% represents the estimated lost channel revenue you're not seeing by not having a great mobile user experience and not linking your partners into your app. Okay, so obviously this is a problem, and obviously it's a meaningful one, not just some side situation, some particular user experience. No, it's a lot of my users are experiencing problems, especially in the partner channel. So why is it like this? Why have the web and mobile teams stayed separate for all these years? Well, there's a couple of arguments that people usually give for why web and mobile have stayed independent. So let's go through them. First up, they just have different goals. They're looking for different things. So on the web side of the world, usually web folks are focused on revenue into their websites, versus app side of the world, usually focused on user acquisition in the form of installs. That's the end of the story, right? Well, when you dig a little deeper, you sort of think that's a surface level understanding. Let's focus on the app side of the world. There are countless tools out there to help app-based marketers look at cohort reporting focused on installs and what active usership looks like after the install. They're looking at revenue. They're not just looking at the install base. That may be what they pay on, but how they optimize is by looking at the lifetime value of these users. And as you all know, on the website, it's been a common practice for a super long time to pay bounties for new user acquisition, right? A lot of times you'll even focus on new user acquisition over overall revenue growth. That's significant, right? What we notice is that even though there are different offers out there, maybe slightly different tactics, both sides are really just going after the same thing. And that makes sense. Why wouldn't the app teams worry about revenue? Why wouldn't the web teams care about acquisition? After all, both teams are just worried about one thing, the growth of their business, right? So while the goals may seem separate and the tactics are independent, the goals are surprisingly aligned. And there's quite a bit that the web marketers could learn from how the app marketers are promoting their offers, and same on the website. All right, so let's focus on the next one, partners. They're just different partners, right? So on the web side of the world, you have some partners like Groupon. Usually it's direct partnerships on other websites. On the app side of the world, you're working with folks like Tapjoy, who are mobile ad networks, and usually they're working across a bunch of different apps, and they're arbitraging CPM buys and selling it on a CPI basis. These are just different, right? Well, I want to challenge that. This has sort of changed and morphed over time. So let's look at Groupon first. Here's an example of Groupon's site. When you look a little bit deeper at what's going on here, not only are they promoting, obviously, in-store sales on websites, but they're also promoting downstream conversions, like this one on Caviar, for instance. And this just makes sense. Again, right, they have an active audience that could be used for both types of offers. Why wouldn't they try to diversify the offers that they're working with? After all, their audience isn't focused on which offers they're promoting. And a lot of the traditional affiliates even are diversifying even more, going more in-app by having their own mobile apps, garnering a larger audience in mobile audience overall. All right, next up, Tapjoy. So obviously, Tapjoy, who works across a bunch of gaming apps, if you don't know, like this one, Jurassic Park, maybe you run out of credits and you get an offer wall. Offer wall shows a couple of different offers here. Hulu is listed. So obviously, they're linking out to downloads of the Hulu app. That's sort of what you'd expect. They're getting paid on a CPI basis most of the time. But a lot of times, they're even willing to work on a revenue basis and are driving website acquisition or website downstream revenue. So as you can see, the fine lines between app and web partners are sort of not so clear as we thought they were. Really, app side should spend more time focused on how they could use the valid audience that traditional affiliates and other website partners are able to provide, And the website should think seriously about whether they're properly leveraging app partners for driving in-web growth. All right, the final and biggest problem probably is that of technology. So this is what really was driving that Macy's example from before, right? It was just different linking. The problem of technology is that it's just different devices, different systems. So the tracking setups and links that you have set up in web just don't translate into app and vice versa. And most of the providers that you work with only focus on app or web, but not both. But all that's changing. So recently, Impact released a new functionality called TrueLink. So let me talk about this a little bit. This basically allows you to link from anywhere. So it could be a website, a mobile app, into anywhere, into your mobile web, a page in the App Store, a deep link view within your mobile app, allowing you to have ultimate control on making sure users have a great user experience. So in case you don't believe me, let's go over it. So remember that Macy's example from before, right? Here's what it looks like with a brand using TrueLink. So this is Spotify. I'm checking out my favorite band, Real Estate. As I scroll down, I see, hey, they're on tour. I'm going to click through. Yeah, some of those look right. I could probably make that. Let me find some tickets. Pops me over to my Ticketmaster app. That looks pretty good. I'm going to favorite this. But I think I want to pay less for it. So let me see if I can find a deal. Maybe I'll go to Retail Me Not. Check it out. I type in Retail Me Not Ticketmaster on Google, click through, 2% cash back. That's pretty good. Anything better? Yeah, no. I think 2% is fine for me. I'll make that purchase. Moment of truth, I open up favorites. And Real Estate's there. Great. I confirm my dates. And I'm on my way. Right? This isn't just better marketing. This is a better user experience overall. So, and next up, I want to talk about, once you realize that functionality like TrueLink allows you to properly link from your app or from your website into app and website, you start to think, well, I know app-based users are a lot more valuable than my web-based users. How can I start converting my web-based users into app-based users? This is the next big thing at Impact. So let me walk you through this. Here's a particular example. I'm on Southern Home, and I decide that's a pretty cool planter. I'm going to buy it. And maybe Southern Home and Target agree that I'm a great candidate for web-to-app conversions. So instead of going to the Target website, I get this offer page where I can get 10% off if I purchase using the Target app. Sounds pretty good. Let me do that. I pick up the app. Open it up. And I'm deep linked directly to that planter I was looking at before. Easy, right? So let me go pick it up. And look, my discount was automatically applied, just like I was expecting. Proceed to checkout. I have no further questions. So there's a lot going on here. I want to break it down for you all. As the correlate to the who loses in the Macy's example, there's the who wins in this one. Well, obviously Target won. They not only got a sale, but they got an install, and not only an install, a validated install with a downstream sale, meaning that it's an activated user, right? Southern Home won too. Not only did they get a commission on the sale, but likely they got an install bounty as well, right? They've grown their revenue. And finally, me, the user, won. I had a great customer experience. I got my cool planter. I got 10% off very easily. And best of all, now I have the Target app, so I can track my purchase along the way. Everybody wins. So with new linking technology like TrueLink, and with new acquisition techniques like the roadmap that I just showed you there, really the problem of technology is fading away. So this leads me to ask the question, what's really keeping web and app teams apart? And the only answer I can come up with is not much. All right, so I promised I'd get back to those birds. So the article I was talking about earlier, something interesting came up. So a new species has recently evolved on the Galapagos. It combined two of the aspects of the existing species. Again, this is kind of how I picture it, Swiss Army bird, something like that. But it's actually happening. So scientists are calling it Big Bird. Big Bird is named because, well, it's bigger than your average finch, right? And interestingly, unlike the finches that can only dig for worms or the other ones that can only crack open nuts, it can do both pretty easily, which makes it very competitive in its space, right? We don't really know where things are going to go, but over time, if it begins to grow and the populations increase, it may drive the decline of some of the other species of birds that aren't able to compete in their markets. Obviously, this is where all the analogies between partnerships and finches die down, right? There's no way any sort of competitive advantages would ever affect businesses like yourself, right? Right? Okay, how many times have you heard it said it was the year of mobile? So many it's a cliche. If you look at it, at least the last 11 years or so. So let's bundle up all those years and let's call that the mobile era. There's a simple question I want to ask, which is, what were we trying to do with the mobile era? Well, I think there was a good intention there. The good intention was, let's meet our users where they're at, which is on their devices. The problem is that we missed the mark. Ultimately, we were too focused on web or app, install or sale, online, offline, whatever. The problem is there's just one user, and they don't understand any of that. They understand, though, what's hard and what's easy. They understand what a great user experience is and what a mediocre one is. We've focused so much on our KPIs over the years and these distinct teams that we've forgotten what truly matters, which is our customers, our users. So it's time to start repairing that relationship. And the way that we do that, I think, is by beginning to break down the silos between the web and mobile teams. We should think more holistically about partnerships in web and mobile and stop breaking the customer experience for all of our users if we want to survive in the next decade, right? In short, I'd say it's time to adapt. Thanks.